Hi there, and welcome to this episode of Beyond the Photo with me, Damien Jackson. In this video, I'm heading for Ballynacourty Lighthouse near Dungarvan in County Waterford. Now, it was a bit of a spur-of-the-moment decision. It's getting on for 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Sunset is around 5, so I'm tight on time. It was a really cloudy day, but just in the afternoon it started to break up, so I said I'd give it a go and see how I got on. So I hope you'll stay with me, join me on the journey and see if we can get a bit of colour in the sky. So I'll check in with you when I get a little bit further up the road. So we're just about here now. In recent years they added this little car park down here, which is really handy because prior to this it used to be trying to park at the side of the road and that. Now if you do have a van, just be aware there is a barrier here with a 2.1 metre. Thankfully my van is 1.9, so I can just about squeeze in under it. Now the car park is for the little strip of beach that's along the coast here, but it's an ideal place to park to get to the lighthouse. The lighthouse is what? It's about 400 metres up the coast from here. Now once you get here, there are two main ways to go. One, you can go up the coast, but it's very rocky, and unless you're really sure-footed, I'd advise what we're going to do is just hop over a little ditch here, and there's a golf course just inside a wall, and we're not going to walk across the golf course, but we're going to walk around the perimeter of it, and that's the easiest way to get there. So we'll get going and hopefully a little bit of colour. Ballynacourty Lighthouse stands at the eastern point of Dungarvan Bay in County Waterford. It was initiated by the merchants and ship owners of the town in the mid-1800s, and its light first shone in 1858. The tower itself is quite small at 13 metres high, but due to its location on the shore, it stands 16 metres above sea level and is constructed from local limestone. It was converted to electricity in 1964, and the present light consists of a cluster of 4 35-watt halogen bulbs with a range of 10 nautical miles. Now, from what I've read, a nautical mile is the equivalent of 1,852 metres. So 10 nautical miles will be roughly equal to 18.5 kilometre visibility. Getting there is quite difficult to explain, but if you take the Gold Coast Road out of Dungarvan until you hit the Gold Coast Hotel and Resort and turn left there, you're almost at the lighthouse. Easier still though, put Ballynacourty Lighthouse into Google Maps and it'll bring you straight to the car park for Ballynacourty Beach, and it's only about 400 metres from there. From the car park, your options are to walk up the coast, over the beach, onto the rocks until you get to the lighthouse. But it can be a little sketchy, and the other option would be to skirt the outer extremities of the golf course along the coast edge and then back onto the coast to take the photo. Now the golf course is private land, but I only walk within a few metres of the coastline and never go near any of the greens or fairways, etc. In terms of light, in my opinion, this is a location for a late winter, early spring shoot. You can see from the graphic here, the yellow line is the sunrise, and which might cast some nice golden light on it. That's on the 1st of February. I prefer to shoot the sunset with the sun behind it because I just seem to get more colour in the sky. But you can see how that's moved on now by the 1st of April. You still have some light from sunrise and sunset. But as it moves towards the summer, you can see the diagram here for June. It moves northwards for both sunrise and sunset. And the problem here is that the only angle you can get out on the jetty from is really shooting in a kind of westerly direction. You can get out on the rocks on the opposite side of the lighthouse, but the wall is so high and you're so low that you only barely see the top of the lighthouse, so there's no shot there really. The location that I'm going to is the only shot. So this is the little gap I was talking about getting through. It's just at the side of the car park and it'll bring you in. So we're just in onto the outskirts of the actual golf course, as you can see. And there is a little bit of colour in the sky. Now from here it's just about 300 metres. And if you follow the coast, as you'll see now as soon as we come around this corner, there's the little beach that the car park is for. And the golf course comes right up to the very edge of the cliff, if you like. And so I just normally come along and walk along here, not doing any harm. I'm not near the greens, I'm not near the fairways. It's just on the very outside. So after 100 metres you'll come to this little mud and gravel path, and again just follow that. Now, I haven't been here for a while and there's really only one shot. When we get there you'll see that there's a bit of a jetty. It's been broken down by the constant waves and that, and if you can get out on that jetty, so I suppose low tide is really the best. If you can get out on that jetty, well then there's a shot there for you, looking back at the lighthouse itself. Now you come to the end of that path after about 100 metres and you'll see the lighthouse there in the distance, and you'll also see one of the holes there off the golf course. So I'm going to take an immediate left, head back down towards the sea, and then we'll be able to get down onto that little broken jetty that I was speaking about and hopefully get a shot back. Now in winter and even in spring itself, up to maybe April, late April or so, if you can get out onto the concrete jetty and look back in towards the lighthouse, you'll be facing into the sun, so there's a good chance you'll get a nice bit of colour behind the actual lighthouse itself, and that's what I'm aiming for this evening. So we'll see how it goes. So I've been hugging the coast the whole way around for another 100 metres or so along the golf course, and now I can see the little lighthouse much clearer. Now, as I said earlier on the way up, it's a tiny little lighthouse, and here's the broken jetty, and as you can see, because the tide is out, I'm able to get down onto that, and that gives me the angle to shoot back. I mean, you don't have to use the jetty, you can also use some of the rocks themselves. But just bear in mind that all those rocks and everything around that jetty, they're all covered at full tide. So you'll need to get here at low tide. Now the sea is a little bit calm today. It would be nice to get some waves bashing, but I do see some light rays coming down from the clouds over that way, and that's behind the lighthouse. So I'm gonna move on here and try and get the shot. Okay, I said I was tight and I've been rushing around since like a mad thing since I got here. At the moment I have on a 20-second exposure. I'm just gonna have a look at that. It's still a little bit dark. I think I'll go maybe, bring it up to 30 seconds. See how I got on. So I've got a 6-stop filter on because there is some water down below here that I want to smooth, and the sky is very bright, and all these rocks here in the foreground, I'll just give you a look at them. All these rocks here are incredibly dark, and you can see how bright the sky is there, and there's the lighthouse, and there is a bit of wave action out there, but there's not much happening down here in front of me. But you never know, I might get a few waves, especially if the tide is starting to come in now. I might just get a few waves and that'll really help. So I'll just have a look at that. As always with these things when you're rushing, I left my good video camera in the car, so I'm just doing this off of the Osmo. But the sky is really reddening up over there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a wider angle lens. So here we go. I've got my 6-stop filter on. I'm on manual focus because it is just that little bit dark at this stage, and I've put on a graduated filter as well because the sky is very bright. I'm at 8 seconds now at F9, and let's see how we go. Well, it was certainly a good start considering all the rushing around beforehand, etc. And I can't say I disliked the shot. I mean, there's fabulous colours in the sky. I suppose the only things that are wrong with it from my point of view is, one, the sea is just a little bit too muted. At that stage the tide hadn't come in as much as it does later on. And I also cut off some of those rocks in the top left, and they just seem to be cropped a little bit. I would have liked to leave them all in. Okay, so I think what I'm going to have to do is bracket it because there's just too much difference between the brightness of the sky and the brightness of the rocks in the lighthouse. And I'll just switch you around there. I don't know how much you can see of that as the camera actually changed to cover, but there's a beautiful sky there, and that's what I'm hoping to grab with the lighthouse as well, and getting all the wave action in as well. So let's go again, see how we get on. Cut it down to 4 seconds now so I can get the rays and that coming from the sky. And that looks well, and now back up. I'm going to go 13 seconds to get the shadows that are in the rocks here in front of me. I hope this works out because it was a very spur of the moment thing, and the clouds were so bad all day, and all of a sudden we had this crack in the sunshine or in the clouds at the very bottom on the horizon. Well, in the end I didn't have to use the bracketed images, and this is the 4-second one that I took originally from the sky. But in post-production I was able to open up the shadows enough for it. Now again, there's the same mistake with this one. I cropped off the rocks on the middle that are coming out from the lighthouse, and there's also a piece of the concrete jetty sticking out there on the left. So the sea is much better in this one. I like the wave action, but it's still not top notch. Okay, that looks good. So I'm just going to move slightly and see if I can get a different composition. I might bring myself down a little bit lower and see if that changes. There's a nice boulder in the sea just underneath me that I've just seen there now when I've stopped rushing around. Okay, at this stage I think change it up again. I'm going to take off the 6-stop, and that might allow me to come back down to maybe 1 second. So I'll up my aperture maybe to f16, bring my shutter speed down. I'll see what I can get there. No, I still can't get a second, but I can get half a second, so I'll try that. There's a rock, a sloped rock going into the sea, if you can see it there. There's a sloped rock going into the sea there, and when the waves go up it and then cascade back down, there's some nice striations as they're coming down, and that's what I'm trying to catch with the half-second exposure. Just get them when they're coming back down off of the rock. But again, you're waiting every time for the right wave to do it. Here we go, catch them now. And again, here's another one, I think. Catch it now. And again, there's a better one. Yeah. Hopefully I'm catching these. Here we go. Once more. Now, half a second.
So I'm just going to keep plugging away here with possibly the same composition, waiting for some waves to come in, and I'll stay until the light dies, which won't be too long now, but I won't put you through the endurance of me fooling around with different shutter speeds and apertures and all of that. So I'll check in with you in a few minutes. I'd say I'm nearly done now. The tide must certainly be coming in, because definitely getting more wave action, and you never know, might get a better shot out of it.
So here we go, the last two compositions of the Lighthouse. Have to admit, I'm happy with both of these. It's exactly the same composition, taken 2 minutes apart, and you can see there's been a huge change in the colour as it got darker. The blues went out of the sky and the greys just came in that little bit more. But you can see in this one where, you know, I've managed to cut out the jetty that wasn't there, and also that I haven't cropped off the rocks that are coming out away from the lighthouse. So yeah, much happier with these two. Not sure which is my favourite. If you have one, let me know in the comments, please. Here's a very short slideshow of the images captured today. So I've made it back to the van. Plenty of cameras and spare batteries back here, but as you know, I hadn't them when I needed them. So lesson learned, you know, just too much rushing around, and I didn't give myself enough time. Having said that, look, it was just the spur of the moment decision to leave in the middle of the afternoon. The day had been quite cloudy, and I think I got a bit of colour in the sky. So hopefully it was worth the visit. You've seen the images at this stage, I haven't. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like or a comment below. It helps YouTube to spread around the videos that little bit more and will help me to develop the channel. Now, if you're new here, please think about subscribing. It doesn't cost anything, and just tick the bell below and you'll be notified of my next video. So until next time, stay safe and bye for now.